Well, guys, it's been a ride. So, I guess just to recap this course, this is the course that I think, I wish that I had when I started working with more complex JavaScript. So all the stuff that we've been talking about, stuff that you can use today, and I encourage that you do. Just to recap, I just opened up my examples folder, and wow, that's a lot of little projects. We got an introduction to Node. We worked with NPM. NPM is an awesome tool. Node and NPM are awesome things to be knowledgeable about, especially even if you don't use it for your actual application server. Even if you're a Rails developer or you're a PHP developer or a .NET developer, they're great tools. We talked about Bower. Didn't talk much about Bower. Bower is a pretty simple, straightforward tool. We talked about Less. Less is awesome. Sass is really catching up in popularity, however, but for now, I think Less is an excellent tool and will continue to be for many, many years. ES6, or rather ES 2015, we talked about a whole bunch of different features that we can use today. Just need a transpiler, and you will need a transpiler. Even if all of the ES 2015 features come out in a month and magically work across all browsers, including Internet Explorer 6, you'll still probably need a transpiler for the duration of the existence of JavaScript because it's an evolving standard and we never want to be left behind with the features that the technical committee are coming up with and standardizing. So it's important to be aware of these features. Don't be afraid of new features because Babel exists and Tracor and TypeScript. So there's no excuse not to use these features today. Then we talked about Gulp. Gulp is another example of an awesome tool that I highly recommend people use if they are web developers and need a build tool. Again, I don't care if you are a PHP developer, or Rails, or ASP.NET. It is a very, very important tool. It's practically taken over the build pipeline sort of ecosystem of JavaScript over the last year or two. And is really the tool that you're going to want to look at, especially Gulp 4. Again, all the stuff we used in this series will work on Gulp 3 with the exception of how you define your tasks, but we talked about that earlier in the series. And then finally, probably what the entire series was leading up to, kind of the most important thing I think that we discussed was module loading. And that's so important because finally not finally, Require.js has been around forever, but finally we have proper syntax to load modules with. Proper ES 2015 syntax that we can run through Babel and then use the existing tools such as Browserify or Require or Webpack to load them in at runtime or during compilation. Modules are another thing that I don't think anybody has an excuse not to use. They really change how you approach programming JavaScript, and they really improve the readability and modularity of your code. And I encourage that people play with all the ones we looked at in the series and choose which one works for their project or their needs. We have everything as simple from Require.js, which is very mature, has been around forever, to something that's sort of bleeding edge, JSPM, which is very recent, and I predict over the next many years, or a couple years, is going to really take over the front-end package management, and I think it's also going to take over module loading and module bundling. For now, I still recommend Webpack. I really like Webpack. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a whole lot about features that you can start using today and incorporate into your projects, no matter what your backend technology is. We're all JavaScript developers. So with that, I guess stuff and things. I will see you guys in a later course.